Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about my upper lower split, specifically the upper portion of the split, because that's what I'm going to show you guys today. But we're also going to get into how prep is going, because I'm getting stronger, but I am not getting anywhere near where I need to be competition ready in 6 weeks. We're going to get as low as we can. We have a coach now. I will reveal that when the time is right, but I was never doing a show anyways. So let's get into that portion of things first, and then we will get into the split a little bit. First of all, I would just like to say that I am doing all of this because I want to go through the process of getting bodybuilding stage lean, peaking multiple times, and figuring out what works for my body in those instances. So this is just a big experiment for me, because at the end of the day, I just went enhanced about a year ago, and I am nowhere near the size I need to be competitive. And when I first step on the stage, I want to at least put a package together that is competitive in regards to everybody else on that stage. And I have a lot of work to do before we get to that point. I am going to have an entire off season. It is going to be a year plus long off season. And if I have to do a mini cut here and there to get to a decent body composition and keep from getting too fat, because we are not going to get too fat during the off season, that is for darn sure. I also wanted to do multiple preps and go through this all now and find myself after the prep doing okay, because that is where a lot of people can let things go, and I don't want to be the guy that lets myself go after a prep and gets off plan. I want to be able to stick to the plan, and I need to be able to understand all of this, and I need to be able to understand all of this because I need everything to be okay. And what I mean by that is I am a father, I am a husband, and if for me, if things get to a point where it is severely negatively impacting my family life, my home life, my relationship with my wife, the way I'm treating my young son, this isn't worth it. And that's just the way that it is. I don't have the genetics to ever become a legitimately competitive bodybuilder on a national stage or anything like that. I'm doing this because I want to go through the process multiple times. I want to grow. I want to get big. I want to outdo my own genetic potential. But I also want to learn this process inside and out so I can help people go through this process, and so I can better help even just lifestyle clients with what they are going through as well. So let's get into the split. Obviously, I started off with the lat pullover there. That Panada machine is the only lat pullover that I've ever actually enjoyed, and I absolutely adore it. It is what I warm up with, even on my non-lat focused upper day, and I'll get into my upper B day that I do as well. My upper A day is definitely more lat focused than anything else. I do the lat pullover. I do the Panada super low row. And then I also do the Panada lat pull down, and I do that unilaterally. And I do both the super low row and the pull downs unilaterally. I get a much better connection that way. What I would also like to say is that on my upper A day, I will sometimes cycle back and forth depending on what machines are open, whether I do a pec deck and a pec fly of some sort, usually like an incline fly, or if I do a press on that first day. It all just depends on what machines are open, really. I still really enjoy pressing, and I get a really good connection with the pec deck, and I do that first because, in my opinion, it's just more important for chest growth overall. And so those isolations are what I've kind of moved towards, especially in my cut when I'm trying to manage my fatigue a little bit more anyways. I will also do 2 shoulder things, and I don't really shoulder press these days just because my shoulder is already messed up. I tore something when I was in the army, when I was in Afghanistan, actually, when I was doing a military press, ironically enough. So I am really cautious about shoulder pressing anyways. And so I am right now just doing the BH lateral raise machine, and I do super ROMs because I want to bring my traps into the movement as well. That is just how I would rather do it. And it's about the only thing I've ever actually picked up from Mike Israetel. And I really, really enjoy that movement. And I get a very nice, and I know that the burn, I know that the pump doesn't matter as much when it comes to growing. We are on about mechanical tension here. Motor unit recruitment, the pump, chasing the pump is not that important. But I love the Super ROM lateral raises on the lateral raise machine because of the stability of it. And because I already do not have great freedom of movement in my shoulders anyways, and I'm trying to fix my range of motion in my shoulders so I can open up a little bit more, and that is helping me out a little bit. And I do a regular lateral raise on that same machine on my B day. I will also do one upper back movement here. It'll either be a seated pronated machine row, or it will be a T-bar row. I love the T-bar row, but it is very, very fatiguing for me and tougher on my chest because you're obviously lifting the weight off of the ground, chest supported, instead of being seated and having that chest support there. And it's just a little bit tougher on my breathing, and so I feel like I can't push it quite as hard as I can a machine row. I also really like the contraction that I can get on a machine row compared to a T-bar row as well. And especially during this prep, I have been very much erring on the side of movement execution and very much like full range of motion, and actually getting to that contraction and trying to work on my mobility because I am so terrible at posing right now. And you can see here when I am doing this row, I got one less rep on that, so I gave myself a couple of seconds to get that last rep in. A couple more breaths, and cheated a little bit to get that last rep in to match my right side. Yeah, man, here are the Super ROM lateral raises. They feel super comfortable for me. I love and adore these. I will do as many, like I will blast these. And I also do another lateral raise. I'll do like either reverse Y's or Y raises to end the session. And sometimes I'll just F around into a drop set as well with that, depending on what kind of time I have. If I have time, I'll do 2 straight sets. But if not, I'll just do one crazy drop set. But I love the feeling of these, man. I push my shoulders really, really hard. I have just narrow clavicles in general. And so for me, trying to build back width and shoulder width with my delts and with my lats is the most important part of bodybuilding for me right now. I also just think aesthetically having a big, wide back is incredibly important when it comes to bodybuilding. It's like aesthetically my favorite thing to see on a bodybuilder. And so I have really been pushing for that. Although I will say I definitely need to work my traps and my erectors. So we are going to be doing a lot of hinging, and we are going to be doing Kelso shrugs until morale improves this next growing phase, which is going to be unfortunate because I hate Kelsos and my body hates hinging. But I will say I do love the feeling of SLDLs. What I will also say is I might just do a lot of back extensions as well on top of that. So we're going to have to figure that out, and I'm going to get with my coach and see the best way to build some of that depth and thickness in the back, as well as continuing to push for that width, because I think that lat engagement, and it's the reason why I've gone to more unilateral movements with my lats, is I know that sensation, it doesn't automatically equal growth, but with the lats specifically, I feel like I haven't made the types of improvements that I want to, trying to chase weight and progressive overload. And so I have really started to focus on execution of movements and trying to improve the stimulus that I am able to get from the weight that I am using. And I am really trying to figure out what works for my lats in general. And I think the best way to do that is to find that sensation and find that feeling in the lats as I'm going down. So you'll see the way that I'm executing these lat pull downs unilaterally is the way that you're going to see me do it, because it's how I feel the best while doing them. Yes, I am aware that the lats lose leverage after 120 degrees of humeral elevation. I do not care. I don't care. I know that my range of motion probably doesn't need to go down this low. I don't care. This is how I am standardizing my form right now. This is how I feel the best as I am coming down and squeezing, pushing that elbow down to my hip and feeling it down into my back. And I feel a lat pump after I do this, which is something that I have not always felt going bilaterally, going a little bit heavier weight and just trying to progressively overload. I am trying to get that elbow down. I am trying to squeeze a little bit and really feel it throughout the entire concentric portion, and then controlling the eccentric on the way up, mostly just for injury prevention, because my shoulders don't particularly love this movement. And funny enough, my left shoulder, which is my non-injured shoulder, is the one that really doesn't like the way that this feels and moves. But I am trying to make that less of an issue overall. I will say, again, there's nothing more comfortable than this Panada machine. When it comes to lat pull downs, when it comes to the super low lat row, when it comes to the lat pull over, Panada is phenomenal. There are a couple of better machines out there. I haven't really gotten to mess with them too much. Prime machines are amazing from a plate loaded perspective, but these Panada machines, man, in Portugal, I couldn't ask for better equipment in a gym. I couldn't ask for a better gym environment, really, other than the fact that I can't use a tripod in here, which is difficult. And so I got to get around that a little bit. But I have a videographer, kind of, lifting partner now. And that is part of the reason why I haven't been able to upload many videos. We were obviously in Porto for a little while, and so I was unable to like really put in the work to get videos in anyways. But the other issue was, even when I was home, we have a house guest right now. It is my wife's cousin, and she is kind of helping us around with the kiddo and just kind of visiting us here in Portugal and having a good time. But my schedule was a little bit off in general. And so I've gone back to going to the gym now at 7 a.m. so I can have a more productive work day the rest of the day. And that has, well, first of all, made me feel a lot better because mentally that was draining to feel like I was just not getting anything done throughout the day, whether it be recording YouTube videos or recording all 22 for my like actual job, and doing breakdowns and stuff, and recording podcasts for football, because that is, you know, the way that I kind of make my money. My time allocation was very, very off, and so I had to get that fixed. And with that came my cousin-in-law going to the gym with me at 7 a.m. So in between her sets, working out, she can kind of come over and record me really quick and get some cinematic shots, which you guys are going to get for the leg day video that I'm going to post next, which is going to be a whole lot of fun, because you get to see a lot more of the intensity that I actually work with on leg day now that I'm not shooting everything from the freaking ground. So that'll be a lot of fun for a little while. And then eventually I'm hoping I can get a legitimate videographer / training partner, because at the end of the day, having a training partner is just flat out better. It's just flat out better to be able to train with somebody, to have somebody to push you, and to have somebody hold the camera. I've also been incorporating some back off sets. Even when I am hitting like my rep range of 8 to 12, I've been incorporating back off sets and going a little bit slower on the eccentric, doing some pausing at the bottom as well. I'm not, again, like I'm not a Mike Israetel guy, an RP strength and hypertrophy guy, really. But what I will say is during prep and for form standardization, when it comes to then going and transferring into my health phase and then into the off season, I am trying to standardize my form so then I can get the most out of these movements when I go back to really pushing and pushing and pushing for growth. And I'm still pushing to grow right now, even in a deficit, a very steep deficit, which the volume's probably going to have to drop here soon because I'm averaging under 2,000 calories at this point, which is a problem. I am very flat right now. I don't feel very good. I'm still pushing very hard in the gym and I'm doing okay, but I don't like the way that I look right now. And I don't really love the way that I feel right now. And that's just kind of the way that prep goes, I guess. But I would very much prefer my look from a couple of weeks ago when I was 185 pounds compared to what I look like at 180 pounds, because I just feel watery and flat at the same time, which is a struggle. Two things I love and I wish that I could do more all the time is T-bar rows and leg press. And leg press is actually something that I'm going to put back into the program on one of my 2 leg days. You'll see that coming up in the next video. But I'm more doing that leg press because I don't want to do the actual adductor machine and just do cardio all day on that, because I can't gym pin it because we have rubber plates here and the rubber plates just rub up against the guard. So it's not a good resistance profile because I'm just fighting against the guard and not the actual weight, which is an absolute struggle because it's not a clear resistance. It goes back and forth and catches and does all that. But I did a back off set here. I didn't love the range of motion on the first one. I really am trying to retract here and get that feeling in the back and get the traps involved a little bit more, because my rear delts are in a decent spot overall. It is my traps that need way more work than anything else. And so for me, I'm going to probably err towards the sides of Kelso's quite a bit moving forward. But I'm still also getting used to Kelso's as well, because I just kind of implemented them. And doing those super ROM lateral raises as well. And I might do just some legitimate shrugs as well coming up after prep. Get the dumbbells in my hand and really go ham with that. But yeah, man, I ended up doing a little bit of a straight set here, and then I did a drop set here to just kill my shoulders at the very end. But sometimes it's just a lot of fun to just destroy the shoulders at the very end of the workout. Is this in any way optimal? Absolutely not. Doing drop sets is not optimal. And we see professional bodybuilders do this all the time. Honestly, it's just a time saver. There's nothing about a drop set that really makes sense other than just absolutely getting the most burn that you could ever imagine out of the muscle. It's really, literally just to get an insane pump. It does, I would say, very, very little to nothing in terms of actually building muscle, because you are moving away from your maximum load and you are really not pushing. You're pushing to failure for sure, but at much less load than you normally would do. So it is never, ever going to be better than a straight set, other than you might get a little bit of stimulus as you are just ending a workout trying to get out of the gym. No, it says it on the screen, but I love you. Thanks for watching, and train insane.